Shalom Yiladim. Today I'm going to tell you a story about a very special person. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a man and his name was Akiva. Akiva was not a man who had learned a lot of Torah. In fact, Akiva didn't even know the alphabet. Every day, Akiva would go to work as a shepherd. A shepherd is a man who takes care of sheep. He would go from farm to farm and find work for himself. One day he decided, there's a very rich man in town, and his name is Kalba Savua. Maybe I can work at his farm, and I will take care of his sheep. And so Akiva walked up to the door of a very big mansion and knocked at the door, and Kalba Savua answered. "What would you like, young man?" "Oh," said Akiva, "I'd like a job. Could I be your shepherd and take care of your sheep? I promise I will take good care of them. I will take them to the grass that's the greenest and sweetest. I will make sure that everyone has what to eat and what to drink, and I will never, ever lose not one of them." "Well," said Kalba Savua, "I think I could try you out." And Akiva started to work for Kalba Savua every single day. And every day he would be a great shepherd. He would take out the sheep. He would sit and he would watch them. He would make sure that they had to drink, had eaten, that none of them got lost, and he would bring them back home again. Kalba Savua was a very nice man. He had a lot of money, and he would use his money to give to Talmidei Chachamim. He wasn't such a big learning man himself, but he would honor the learning of Torah by helping Talmidei Chachamim, Rabbanim, be able to learn themselves. Well, Kalba Savua had a beautiful daughter, and her name was Rachel. Rachel every day would watch from the window when Akiva would come and take care of the sheep. She was very impressed with his middos. He was kind, and he was patient, and he was always polite. She would watch him every single day, and the more she watched him, the more she really liked him. One day, Akiva was taking the sheep out to the meadow, and he sat down to rest and watch the sheep as they were grazing in the grass. And he saw something amazing. He saw that there was a stone. And in the stone, there was a hole. What was making the hole in the stone? A drop of water. A drop of water kept dripping on the very same spot on the stone, day after day after day. And after so many days, the water actually made a hole. Now, Yiladim, which is stronger, a stone or water? A stone is much stronger. How can it be that water, which is not as strong as a stone, could make a hole in the stone? Well, Rabbi Akiva was watching and watching and watching. And when he saw that, he started thinking to himself, I'm pretty old. I'm 40 years old. And I haven't learned very much at all. My heart is like stone. But Torah is soft and good and gentle. Maybe the love of Torah and the specialness of Torah can make my heart soft, just like the water made the stone soft and was able to make a hole. He started thinking to himself, maybe it's time that I should try, even though I'm old, maybe it's never too late. Rachel came out of the house one day and started talking to Akiva. And Akiva shared with her that he wasn't so smart in Torah learning, and maybe it's time to start learning. And Rachel was so amazed by his courage, that he was so brave to start learning even though he was so old. Rachel loved Akiva so much. And so Akiva and Rachel wanted to get married. Well, before a girl and boy get married, they go and they ask permission from the Abba. So that day, Akiva and Rachel went to Kalba Savua to ask permission to get married. Whoa! When Kalba Savua heard that his beautiful daughter Rachel wanted to marry a shepherd boy, he became very annoyed. "No way," he said. "My daughter is not going to marry a shepherd boy that doesn't even know the alphabet. And if you dare get married, then you are not welcome in my house again." Well, Akiva and Rachel did not have a choice. They wanted to get married, they wanted to have a family, and they wanted to go and learn. So Rachel left her father's house, and she and Akiva got a very small hut that during the winter the rain would come through the roof, and during the summer it was so very hot. But they were so happy together. After a few days, Rachel said to Akiva, "Akiva, it's time to start learning Torah. Do you know where you must begin?" He said, "I guess the alphabet." "Yes," said Rachel, "the alphabet. And do you know where the best place to learn the alphabet is? It's in kindergarten. You're going to have to go to kindergarten and start learning the alphabet." Akiva looked at Rachel. "Me? Go to kindergarten? Everyone's going to laugh at me. That would be so strange." Rachel said, "Don't worry, Akiva. We'll talk about it in a few days." The next day, Rachel called Akiva in and told him to do something very strange. She said, "Akiva, I want you to bring a donkey, and I want you to plant grass in the dip of the donkey's back." Akiva looked at Rachel. Whoa, that's a very strange thing, but he wanted to make his wife happy. So he went and found a donkey, and he planted the grass, and the grass began to grow. When the grass had grown, Rachel said to her husband Akiva, "Akiva, sweetie, would you please go to the marketplace and buy me some tomatoes?" The marketplace in those days was like a mall of today. Many, many different stores and lots of people around. Well, Akiva said, "Sure, I'll take my donkey and I'll go bring you tomatoes." Well, as Akiva stepped through the gate of the marketplace of the mall, everyone was crowding around him. Everyone wanted to see this strange donkey. They had never seen a donkey that had grass growing on its back before. And Chaim called Shmerel, and Shmerel called Yaakov, and Yaakov called Shlomo, and Rivka called Sarah, and Chava, and Malka. Everybody gathered together to look. And it took such a long time that by the time everybody went back to their business, the tomato store was closed. Well, Akiva came home, and he said, "My darling Rachel, I wanted so badly to get you tomatoes today, but I couldn't even get into the marketplace. Everyone was crowding around me." "That's okay, Akiva. You'll do it tomorrow." Tomorrow came, the next day came, and Akiva took his donkey, went to the marketplace, and again, everybody gathered from here and there and everywhere, and come see what's going on here. It went on for hours, and by the time everybody went about their business, the tomato store was closed. Akiva went home and said, "I'm sorry, Rachel. I really wanted to get you the tomatoes, but the store was closed." It's okay, Akiva. Tomorrow. The next day, Akiva took his donkey and went through the marketplace, and nobody stopped him. He went into the tomato store, he bought the tomatoes, and came home. "Whoa," said Rachel, "you came home so quickly. What happened today?" He said, "Well, I went to the marketplace and everybody was doing their own thing, and I was able to go buy the tomatoes, and here they are." "Oh," said Rachel, "listen what you just said. On the first day, everyone was crowding. On the second day, everyone was crowding. But on the third day, it was regular. Not so amazing anymore. That's what's going to happen to you when you go to kindergarten. On the first day in Gan, there's going to be a couple kids who are going to laugh. And on the second day, maybe, look at them, they're going to laugh. But on the third day, when they see that you're so smart and that you're working so very hard, the children are going to start helping you. And you're going to feel welcome. And you won't be embarrassed anymore." And that's exactly what happened. Rachel was such a clever wife, a clever woman. Akiva went to kindergarten and first grade and second grade and third grade and eighth grade and all the way through high school until he learned so much Torah that there wasn't anybody else to learn from in their city. And it was time for him to go to the bigger cities to learn Torah from big Talmidei Chachamim. So Rachel packed up his suitcase, and Akiva said goodbye to Rachel. He said, "I'm going to make you proud." And off he went to learn Torah. He was away for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, for 6 years, for 7 years, for 8 years, for 9 years, 10, 11, 12 years he was away. And while he was away, the neighbors were not so kind to Rachel. They would come and make fun of her. "Ha! Your husband. He went away. He's never going to come back. What kind of husband is that who leaves his wife for so long?" One day, there was a conversation going on in Rachel's house, her and her neighbor. And they did not know that a special visitor had just arrived from far, far away. It was Akiva. And he was just about ready to knock at the door when he heard the conversation. The neighbor was saying, "What kind of husband do you have?" And Rachel said, "I'm telling you now," she said to her neighbor. "It's true. Akiva has been away 12 years. But I would even let him go another 12 years if it meant that he would become the biggest and the best Talmid Chacham of all." Well, when Akiva heard that, he didn't even knock at the door. He was worried that if he would knock at the door and go inside, he wouldn't have the strength to go back to the yeshiva. So he listened to his wife, and he had her bracha, and he turned around and went back to the yeshiva to learn. And he learned for another 12 years, 24 years in all. And he was no longer called Akiva. Now he became the big tzaddik Rabbi, Rabbi Akiva. Everybody called him Rabbi now. And not only that, but he was really a Rabbi for 24,000 Talmidim. Not 100, not even 1,000. 24 times 1,000. Is that a little bit or a lot? That's a ton of Talmidim. Well, Rabbi Akiva decided that it was time to go back home. And his Talmidim were going to come with him, and they were going to build a huge yeshiva and bring learning to his hometown. When the people of the town heard that Rabbi Akiva was coming home, can you imagine? There was music in the streets. The people all closed their businesses and everybody was standing there waiting and waiting and waiting for the great Rabbi to come. But there was one woman in town that was most excited of all the people, and that was Rachel. She couldn't wait to see Rabbi Akiva. When Rabbi Akiva arrived and started coming down the street was full. Rachel was going this way and that way and this way and that way and trying to get through. All of a sudden, Rabbi Akiva saw Rachel from afar, and he said, "Everybody stop! Everybody make way for this woman!" Everyone was very surprised. Why? And then Rabbi Akiva said something so important. He said, "Your Torah and my Torah all belong to her. If she would not have wanted me to go and learn Torah and become a Talmid Chacham, I would not have had the love of Torah and all the learning that I have, and I wouldn't have been able to teach all of you. So make way for her. Give her honor." And so Rachel walked down the street. Everybody waited for her to come until she could stand next to her husband, Rabbi Akiva. There was a man in the crowd that was very embarrassed. Do you know who that was? Do you remember? Who was the man who said, "Don't ever come in my house again"? It was Kalba Savua. Right. It was Kalba Savua, Rachel's daddy. Oy vey, was he embarrassed. He never dreamed that this shepherd Akiva would become such a big Talmid Chacham. So he ran to the feet of the Rebbe and said, "Slicha, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please be meichel me. I never realized. I should never have said what I said." And Rabbi Akiva lifted him up off the floor and said, "Don't worry. I'm not upset. I am not angry. Now we will all be a family once again." And Akiva set up a big yeshiva in his hometown. But something very, very sad happened. Even though his Talmidim were very, very smart, even though his Talmidim knew lots and lots of Torah, they were not so nice to each other. They didn't care for a person when they were upset. Or they spoke not nicely about somebody else when he made a mistake. Or when they were bringing chairs into the Beis HaMedrash, they only brought chairs for themselves and not for somebody else. And Hashem was disappointed. How can it be boys, Talmidim, who learned so much Torah, that the Torah doesn't make their midos wonderful? And Hashem brought a terrible, terrible onesh, a terrible punishment. A terrible sickness came, and all of Rabbi Akiva's Talmidim, except for 5, all passed away. What a terrible, terrible shame. All that Torah gone because they weren't nice to each other. They weren't kind to each other. When was this terrible sickness? This terrible sickness happened during the first 33 days of our Sfirat HaOmer. And because this terrible, terrible thing happened, the first 33 days of the counting of the Omer, we cannot be so excited about getting the Torah. We are sad that we lost Torah. We don't have weddings. We don't go to concerts. We don't take haircuts. We don't shave. We do things that are a little bit less happy, to remind ourselves that Torah was lost, but also to remind ourselves how we should behave, how we need to have extra love for each other. Rabbi Akiva is known to teach us something very important. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You must love your friend as much as you love yourself. Now, do you love yourself? Of course you do. You give yourself treats. You make sure that you have toys. You make sure that you go on trips. You love yourself. You do things, nice things for yourself. Well, Rabbi Akiva says, all those nice things that you do for yourself, you must do for your friend. That is a klal gadol b'Torah. That is a big rule of Torah. A person cannot be a Torah yid if he only keeps Shabbos. He cannot be a Torah yid if he only keeps kashrus. He can't be a Torah yid only if he davens. He can only be a Torah yid if he does the mitzvos between him and Hashem, the best he can be. But all the mitzvos between us and our friends must be as best as they can be. That is what Hashem wants to see. So while we are preparing for Kabbalas HaTorah, while we're preparing for Chag HaShavuot, when we're going to get that special Torah, we want to show Hashem we are both. We take care of the mitzvahs that you want us to take care of between us and you, like davening and mezuzah and tefillin and kashrut and Shabbos. But we are also taking care of tzedakah and chesed and bikur cholim and achnasas orchim, because that's a big rule in the Torah. So let's try really hard during these first days of the Sfirah, of the counting, to be a little bit nicer to our friends, a little bit nicer to our brothers and sisters. Watch out if our Ima needs a rest. Make sure that our Abba has a drink of water when the weather's getting really hot. Those things are really important. Hashem is watching, and you're going to make Hashem really proud.